Aliens mocked human weapons, until they experienced their true power. The mockery. The Galactic Union had always prided itself on its technological superiority. Its energy-based weapons, plasma cannons, and gravity disruptors were the envy of the galaxy. When humanity joined the Union, their primitive projectile weapons, guns, missiles, and explosives, were met with derision. "You still use chemical explosions to propel metal fragments," laughed Commander Krell, a reptilian officer from the Voss Empire, during a military exchange on Earth. "How quaint. Your weapons are relics of a bygone era." The human soldiers, standing in formation with their rifles slung over their shoulders, exchanged uneasy glances. Their weapons had served them well for centuries, but in the eyes of the Union, they were little more than toys. "Our weapons may seem outdated," said Captain Elena, the human officer leading the exchange, "but they're reliable, effective, and easy to produce. Sometimes, simplicity is an advantage." Krell snorted, his scales rippling with amusement. "Simplicity? More like inefficiency. Watch this." He gestured to a Union soldier, who stepped forward with a sleek plasma rifle. The soldier aimed at a target, a reinforced steel plate, and fired. A bolt of superheated plasma struck the plate, melting through it like butter. "Now that," Krell said smugly, "is a weapon. Your primitive guns couldn't even scratch that plate." Captain Elena's jaw tightened, but she remained calm. "Our weapons may not be as flashy, but they get the job done. Would you like a demonstration?" Krell waved a clawed hand dismissively. "By all means, amuse us." The human soldiers set up a new target, a thick concrete wall, and stepped back. Captain Elena raised her rifle, took aim, and fired. The bullet struck the wall, embedding itself deep within the concrete. Krell laughed. "Is that it? A single hole? How underwhelming." But before he could continue, the wall exploded. The concrete shattered into dust, and the shockwave knocked the Union soldiers off their feet. When the dust settled, the wall was gone, reduced to rubble. Krell stared in stunned silence, his scales dull with shock. What was that?" Captain Elena lowered her rifle, a faint smile on her lips. "Explosive-tipped rounds. Simple, but effective. Our weapons may not look like much, but they pack a punch." The Union soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. Their plasma rifles were powerful, but they required precise aim and careful handling. The human weapons, crude as they were, could cause widespread destruction with a single shot. But Krell wasn't ready to admit defeat. "A clever trick," he said, his voice tinged with irritation. "But in a real battle, your weapons would be no match for ours." Captain Elena's smile faded. "Perhaps. But I wouldn't underestimate us. Humans have a way of turning even the simplest tools into something deadly." As the exchange continued, the Union soldiers couldn't shake the feeling that they had underestimated humanity. Their weapons, once a source of mockery, now seemed dangerous. But the true test was yet to come. The true power. The military exchange on Earth had left the Union soldiers uneasy. The humans' weapons, though primitive in design, had proven far more destructive than expected. But Commander Krell, ever arrogant, dismissed the demonstration as a fluke. "A single explosive round doesn't change anything," he said. "In a real battle, our technology will always prevail." The humans, however, were about to prove him wrong. A month after the exchange, the Union's outpost on the edge of the galaxy came under attack. A rogue faction of pirates, armed with stolen Union technology, launched a surprise assault. The outpost's defenses, designed to counter energy-based weapons, were quickly overwhelmed. Desperate for reinforcements, the Union called for help. The closest available force? A human military unit stationed on a nearby colony. When the human ships arrived, Commander Krell, who was overseeing the outpost's defense, was less than thrilled. "What are they doing here?" he demanded. We need advanced firepower, not primitive toys. Captain Elena, leading the human unit, ignored his protests. We're here to help, she said firmly. Stand aside and let us do our job. The battle began in earnest. The pirates, armed with plasma cannons and gravity disruptors, unleashed a barrage of energy blasts that tore through the outpost's shields. The Union soldiers fought valiantly, but their weapons were ineffective against the pirates' advanced defenses. Then the humans entered the fray. Their ships, though less advanced than the Union's, were equipped with an array of projectile weapons, missiles, railguns, and explosive cannons. As the pirates closed in, the human ships opened fire. The first volley of missiles struck the pirate fleet with devastating force. The explosions tore through their shields, sending shockwaves rippling through their ships. The pirates, caught off guard, scrambled to regroup. What is this? Krell shouted, watching the battle unfold from the outpost's command center. How are they doing so much damage with such primitive weapons? Captain Elena's voice crackled over the comms. Our weapons may not be as flashy as yours, but they're effective. And they don't rely on energy shields to stop them. As the battle raged on, the humans' true power became clear. Their railguns fired hypervelocity projectiles that punched through the pirates' armor like paper. Their explosive cannons unleashed barrages of shrapnel that overwhelmed the pirates' point defense systems. And their missiles, though slow compared to energy weapons, carried payloads that left entire ships in ruins. The pirates, realizing they were outmatched, attempted to retreat. But the humans weren't done. Deploy the EMP warheads, Captain Elena ordered. A series of missiles streaked toward the pirate fleet, detonating in a burst of electromagnetic energy. The pirate systems, reliant on advanced electronics, were instantly disabled. Their ships drifted helplessly, their weapons silent and their engines dead. The Union soldiers watched in stunned silence as the humans mopped up the remaining pirates. In less than an hour, the battle was over. Commander Krell, his scales dull with shock, approached Captain Elena as she stepped off her ship. I don't understand, he said, his voice uncharacteristically quiet. How did you do that? Captain Elena smiled faintly. Our weapons may seem simple, but they're designed to do one thing: destroy. We don't rely on fancy technology or energy shields. We rely on raw power and ingenuity. And sometimes, that's all you need. Krell nodded slowly, his arrogance replaced by a newfound respect. You've proven me wrong, he admitted. Your weapons, they're more than I thought. More than any of us thought. As the humans and Union soldiers worked together to secure the outpost, the galaxy began to take notice. Humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with. And their weapons, once mocked, were now feared. The end.